Hello again, it's me, Ellie Di Julio. Time for Copy and Questions, December 2014. You ask, I answer, sponsored by Team Patron and my co-producer, G.I. Jane. Look at the camera, look. Hello. This month we've got a lot of questions, so we're going to go ahead and dive in, get started right away, and we'll see what happens. NaNoWriMo went awesome. Maybe you don't know, but instead of doing the 50K in 30 days that is normal National Novel Writing Month, I decided that I was going to be completely insane and do 75,000 words in 25 working days, so I didn't write on the weekends at all. And my normal word count for the day was 3750, which was a lot, and honestly, I didn't think I could do it. I set the goal because I wanted to challenge myself, because 75K is a full novel draft for me, and knowing that I could do 50K in a month, because I've done it before, not during Nano, but before, thinking with Cora Riley, I wanted to see if I could do it, and I did. Like, literally by the grace of God, and just doing it every day and treating it like a job, because it is my job. I did it, and I have a complete novel draft for Mirror of Ashes, the third Forgotten Relics book, and I'm kind of blown away by the whole thing. I'm really surprised that I did it, but it means that in the future, I'll be able to do novel turnarounds in 4 or 5 months instead of 9 months, if I can keep this up and get editing on par as well, which is amazing. And I have had a lot of people ask me, how do you do it, and what do I do? How do I get that kind of productivity? 1, don't have a job, like a day job. 2, don't have children. I have 8 hours a day where I'm home by myself working. So I'm writing. I can make that time to just write. But like, realistically, it doesn't matter how much time you have. Like, it's a matter of commitment. And the whole point to me of Nano is not necessarily to write 50,000 words, it's to challenge yourself and to expand what is really possible in your writing life, and to kind of figure out what your process is and to refine it every time you do Nano. So, like, I don't have a lot of advice for people who want to do Nano. I have a lot of cheerleading, I have a lot of encouragement, I have a lot of support. But if you aren't going to stick with it, like, even if you don't win, even if you don't make the 50K, writing every day and learning the process and learning what you're really like, sticking with that for 30 days will change your writing life. And you don't need to do it during November, because November's crazy time. You can do it at any time. They do Camp Nano in June or July, I think. Do that. So if you want to do Nano, do Nano. Do the challenge, use the box, write the book. Got it? Yes, I did. This year, finally. If you don't know, I am American. I'm from Missouri. And I moved to Hamilton, Ontario about 6 years ago when I married my husband. And so they have Thanksgiving in October here, which blows my mind, and Christmas music starts way too early. But I don't usually do anything for American Thanksgiving, so by the end of November, I'm just last year I watched the Macy's Day Parade on live stream, and then watched the Mystery Science Theater 3000 Turkey Day Marathon. And that was it. That's all I did. And this year, because we're really plugged into our church and have this whole new community that also has a bunch of Americans in it, we did 3 Thanksgivings this year. We did 2 Saturdays and the actual Thursday. And they just kind of got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm wearing my eating pants right now because they're the only pants that fit. But it was really amazing. It was so much fun, and I forgot how wonderful it is to sit down and have a meal with people that you love, and to just really bask in that for a while, and the glow of a warm turkey and a pie. It was awesome. Christmas for me looks very much the same every year. Even after I got married and moved away, I go home to Kansas City, which is where my dad and my grandmothers are and a bunch of my cousins, and spend the week. My brother and I actually still share a room that we've shared at my dad's house for our entire lives. It's like I'm 30 years old, I'm still sharing a room with my brother. But it's so wonderful because it's the only time of year now that I get to see my dad and my grandmothers. And it's a really precious time for me. And I'm leaving a few days before Christmas and coming back just before New Year's. And so if you're in Kansas City and you're watching this, let me know if you want to hang out. I'd love to get a meetup together. I know that there are a couple people who've already mentioned it to me, and I'm going to do what I can to grab a car and see what we can do. It's really just a lot of fun. We get to see people that we've known our whole lives, friends of the family that have known us since I was really little, and who are different degrees of impressed with what I've done with my life. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. So since I started doing entrepreneurship of various kinds back in the day when I was the headologist, and Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and Cyber Monday have always been kind of like a big panic for me. And this year Amazon ran a 30% off any one print book, including their Create Space wing. So I sold 4 books during that time, which is great. I mean, it's not any big shakes. I'm not going to be on the bestseller list, but it does mean that some people did take advantage of that, and that's really exciting for me. It's always exciting for me. I mean, I know one of them was my mom, so I don't know if that counts. But Black Friday went okay, and I'm recording this on Cyber Monday, where all of the books are $4.97 for all 3 of them, plus the Jack Alexander short story that I did for the Indiegogo. So we'll see how that goes. I'm really curious. I'm actually... This plays into a later question, and I'll kind of get into it later, but I'm thinking a lot about value and like making this stuff worthwhile for you guys. And big days with big sales, everybody kind of gets drowned out, so you actually don't do as well as a small guy. So I'm not too fussed about it, but it is making me think about bundles and things like that. So we'll see. It's going to be good either way. I'll make sales or I won't. Either way, it'll be fine. Oh man. Okay, so editing sucks. Editing sucks because you're tearing apart. Your responsibility in editing is to tear apart everything that you wrote in your first draft and fix it and make it readable. And basically, my editing process changed hugely between Core Riley and Sword of Souls, because Sword of Souls was written, I hated it so much. God, I hated writing that book. It came out fine. I mean, look at this awesome, huge painting, cover painting from Duz. It came out great at the end, but that was because of editing. I had to go back and I had to re-outline the entire book because I didn't know what was going on. I'd written it all in word sprints at the end. And so re-outlining and then finding the plot threads that I had been threading through, really, really important. And then basically what I did was go through and tighten up the wording and adding and subtracting content as needed, like really refining what the story was supposed to be, then sending it out to beta readers. So after the beta readers give me their feedback, I cry a little bit because it's always, book is it's your baby. You don't want it to be bad. But so when people have critique, it's hard to swallow that sometimes. But I've gotten better at it. Gotten my skin a little bit thicker, and then I go back and I do a final revision. So there's 3 revision passes that happen. There's my first one, there's the beta reader pass, and then there's the final pass. And the way I keep it, I write everything in Scrivener, but then I transferred over to Word because that's what people use to beta read for me, and then I wind up just leaving it there. So I break it up into chunks, into parts, and then chapters. And then I just do them all manually. Like, it's not a pretty system. I don't have any fancy tools or tricks. It's pretty straightforward. Like, you just do the thing. You got to get in there and it's messy. And if you don't save sections. Like, oh my God, if you are editing and you take out a section, do not delete it. Put it in a different document, because God help you if you need it again. God help you. But yeah, editing is really hard. I'd love to go into more detail about it. This is not the place for that. Maybe I'll write an editing series of posts or something when I get ready to start doing it for Mirror of Ashes, because editing is complicated and it's a lot of feels. There's a lot of feels. I really like systems, but I'm really bad at starting systems. So organization for me is super important, but also super slapdash, which makes no sense. So I do start in notebooks. I have a sketchbook, a black spiral-bound sketchbook for every single one of my books. I started this with Cora Riley and loved it so much because I can just draw in it. It's not bound by lines or anything, which makes me sound like such a friggin' hippie. So I outline the big steps, and then I outline chapter by chapter as I go by hand. But then I don't write freehand. I know a few people like Jessica McHugh write all of their books freehand first and then transfer it over into Word. I don't do that. I just write the document in the computer because it's so much faster. But then I do have to go back and kind of, like I was saying earlier, do the re-outline. And that I do by hand again. So it's just kind of a process of re-outlining by hand and then doing the actual writing in the computer. And I wish I was organized enough to have like the Excel sheets with the timelines and all that stuff. I tried to do that for Inkchanger and nearly lost my mind. That was important for Inkchanger because all of the timeline was really important. But I just can't, I don't know, I can't figure it out. I need a plot Bible. Like I need I'm really considering starting a wiki where it's got, because it's a series and it's complicated. There's so many people and locations and all this magic world stuff needs to be done. So maybe that's one of the things I'll do next year for organization purposes, is to do a wiki, and then you guys can help me. You can help me fill in the details, things that I may have missed, not just for me, but for you guys. Mass crowdsourcing the organization too. Yeah, that totally needs to be done. And if you guys have any tips or tricks, please leave it in the comments so I can get organized. Having it all up in my head is not a good long-term solution. So, one of the things I've been doing a lot of thinking about lately is Patron, because I love crowdsourcing. I love the Amanda Palmer idea of don't make people, how do we make people pay for stuff? How do we let people pay for stuff? And you guys are so amazing. You blow me away every time I do some sort of crowdfunding initiative. And I really feel like my approach to writing has changed to be more in line with my business beliefs, where I believe that the point of having a business, especially a creative business, is to connect with people and to build that audience that can love you up close instead of this huge, sprawling, faceless crowd. I'm not into that at all. And so what Patron has done is made me look at my writing as, it's a product, and I hadn't really thought about that before, and I hate saying it because it sounds so callous and removed. But trying to figure out how I can make the Patron more valuable. Like, how can I better serve you guys as a creative person? And I realized that doing the traditional way of just a novel every 6 months, or, which is fast for traditional publishing, it's usually a year, is not really the right way to do it. I need to finish the Forgotten Relics series, and I'm trying to figure out other ways that I can make my writing more accessible and more interesting and more immediate for people who donate to the Patron. And it's gotten me really excited about doing things like serials, where an installment comes out every week or every 2 weeks or something, where instead of saying, I'm going to write this huge long novel, which is interesting, and I would continue to do that, but trying to supplement it, trying to figure out other ways, other faucets that I can tap to give you more stuff, because like I totally have that 5-year-old thing where I'm like, look, I made this thing, take it, oh my god, take it. I can't stand it. And I need, what I really want is to figure out how I can do that, how I can work on more than one project at a time to give you guys more stuff, to have better communication, to tell you more stories and connect with you guys and build our tribe instead of thinking about, you know, trying to get the next novel out and trying to do the next big thing instead of, it makes me think in terms of little things, little meaningful things, instead of big pushes, big marketing, and I don't know, I get all wrapped up about this. And so one of the things I've actually been considering is changing the structure of Patron, and also thinking very strongly about making all of my work pay what you want, where instead of having these big launches and which suck, by the way, instead of having big launches and having big pushes and big promos and like trying to work out everything, like what's the price point on this, just saying, you know what, I just made this thing, here it is, here's a donate link, if you want to give me money, awesome, if you don't, please just comment, please just share it, and let's build it that way, because I feel like that's so much more genuine, and it's so much more loving, and so much more generous, and I want to see that in the business world, and it's, you know, especially as a creative person who struggles with value for work, it's like, I want to let you guys tell me, because it's for you! It's your stuff! I make it, but it's for you. I want you guys to tell me what it's worth. Not because, you know, I think that it's you know, worth too much and whatever, because it's for you. And it's a gift for you. I don't do this for me. If I just did it for me, I would just shove the stuff in the drawer, have a vanity copy printed, and never try to give it to anybody. I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you a story. And so Patron has really gotten me fired up about getting even more deeply connected with you guys. And what that means for my writing is that I need to start turning out more stuff. I need to expand what I write. And we're going to see that next year. I think I'm going to do the story a week challenge. 52 stories. I have to write a short story every week, and they can be whatever length, but like that would be something that is fun for me, exciting for me, and exciting for you, and worth it. And I just think that that's so going to be so much fun. So anyway, I could talk about this all day. Yeah. So Patron has totally changed the way that I think about it, and some of these changes are really slow, and I'm kind of dumb sometimes, so I'm working on it. But yeah. So thank you guys for all the questions, and this is what Patron is about. This is how Patron has changed what I do, and I'm so excited. I'm so glad and so grateful for Team Patron and everybody that's on it, and everybody that wants to be on it, and anybody who supports me, shares the videos, talks to me on the internet. I love you guys. I really do. Thank you so much. This is the last video of 2014. 2014 has been a year of change, and I'm so excited to see what 2015 holds for us. It just feels so open and full of possibility, and I don't know, I'm really excited to start planning it and start writing for you guys. So thank you so much for all your questions and all your support, and I will see you in 2015. Bye.